and welcome to this edition of The Right Stand. Will our country, the might of the fourth largest economy in the world, the might of a nation that now finds itself as an equal and is angling for not just an entire reformation of the United Nations but also a recalibration of the UN Security Council, will this nation tell secessionist elements and nations that continue to encourage secessionist elements that enough is enough? You will not take our kindness, you will not take our tolerance and our resilience for granted. Secessionist elements, Khalistani elements continue to provoke, ladies and gentlemen. Yet another instance of Canada continuing to give and provide a platform to anti-India elements, secessionist elements, a free run in their country, all under the garb of freedom of speech. Just days ahead of the anniversary of Operation Blue Star, a parade taken out by Khalistani sympathizers in Brampton City of Ontario province. Yes, it's Brampton again. A tableau depicting Indira Gandhi's assassination, part of this 5-kilometer long parade. Video of the event that was held on the 4th of June has gone viral. The Canadian High Commissioner, Cameron Mackay, criticizing the event that glorified the killers of Indira Gandhi and said there is no place in Canada for hate or glorification of violence. But has Canada arrested the organizers? Has Canada slapped charges against those who carried out that tableau? Has that truck been impounded? Has that vehicle been impounded? The people who designed that tableau, have they been arrested? All these questions should be asked of Ambassador Mackay. Congress terming the depiction of the former Prime Minister's assassination despicable and urging External Affairs Minister Subramaniam Jaishankar to take it up strongly with the Canadian authorities. The Congress calling upon nations to condemn the event. External Affairs Minister Dr. Subramaniam Jaishankar also condemning Canada's evident tolerance of pro-Khalistani, pro-secessionist elements and saying it is not good for the country and its relationship with India. Dr. Jaishankar going on to say that Canada is giving space to extremists forcing for vote bank politics. But is this condemnation enough? Shouldn't India take a tougher stand to ensure that Canada toes the line? Canada respects India's sovereignty and the sentiments of crores of Sikhs who do not endorse what these secessionist elements are practicing or doing on the streets of Brampton in Canada.
We are at a loss to understand, other than the requirements of vote bank politics, why anybody would do this. One incident, however egregious it may be. I think there is a larger underlying issue about the space which is given to separatists, to extremists, to people who advocate violence. And I think it's not good for the relationship, and I think it's not good for Canada.
Not good for the relationship, not good for Canada is what Dr. Jaishankar has said, and he very clearly says separatists and extremist elements. Here's how Canada has reacted to these kind of separatist, secessionist, extremist events, anti-India events on their soil. June 2023, Brampton, Indira Gandhi's assassination portrayed on a tableau, no action taken. Nothing so far that's been reported. March 2023, Surrey, Canada, High Commissioner's event targeted. Action that was taken is case is registered. Police is still looking for the 3 suspects. February 2023, Mississauga, again, Ram Temple defaced with anti-India graffiti. Authorities are still investigating the incident, ladies and gentlemen. Still investigating the incident. Jan 2023, Brampton, again Ontario, Jan, Gauri Shankar Temple defaced with pro-secessionist, pro-Khalistan graffiti, pro-K graffiti. Canadian authorities probing the incident. July 2022, again the state of Ontario, Gandhi statue vandalized, sprayed with again secessionist graffiti. Action still being investigated as a hate crime. March 2022, Surrey in Canada, again case sympathizers hurling abuses at journalists. Cops mute the spectators and ask the journalists to go, leave the premise. So this is what has happened. Is this not a soft approach? Is Canada guilty of providing a platform to secessionist and also anti-India hate? And here's why we ask this question. 2015, at least 4 members of Justin Trudeau's cabinet were linked to secessionist elements, extremists and K-backers. Subheader, once again, let's try and understand. 2017, Justin Trudeau attends Toronto Kirtan, which featured, once again, secessionist flags. Then, the next event, 2017, Justin Trudeau addresses Khalsa Day Parade, which had Bhindranwale floats. 2018, convicted Khalistani terrorist invited to Justin Trudeau's reception in India. 2019, Justin Trudeau forms minority government, discusses matters with K-backers. 2022, K-separatist Jagmeet agrees to support Trudeau's Liberals until 2025. So for vote bank, you are ready to back those who are actually indulging in secessionist activity, who are working with gangsters, who are running arms, drugs and weapons cartels on Indian soil and orchestrating extortion and hit jobs. Ambassador Deepak Vora, former diplomat with us, and Puneet Sahni, activist, also with us. Namaste and Jai Hind, gentlemen. Thank you very much. It's lovely to see that we all are carrying the Tiranga, not only in our hearts but also on our sleeves and somewhere around us. But let me first ask you, Ambassador Deepak Vora, should India now say no more visas to Canada or Canadians unless you're coming into India for business? Should we start shutting down our consulates there?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes, I can, sir. Yes, I can. Go ahead, please.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, sir. Always a pleasure to be with you on your channel. I mean, you guys are absolutely amazing, and thank you for taking up this issue. You are one of the best. I say that with total sincerity, and you in particular. When this character, Justin Trudeau, this maverick, was elected Canada's Prime Minister again a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, I did not know whether to congratulate him or to feel sorry for his country. You know, Shrimati Trudeau contracted the Chinese virus in March 2020. Her husband might have got it too, and long COVID is now proved to damage the brain and induce hallucinations. You remember when he came on an official visit, he even brought some acknowledged Khalistanis with him. The man has lost it. He is an ass. There is a biblical saying, for they have sown the wind and they shall reap the whirlwind. Why does Canada tolerate immigrants who spout venom against their home countries? The Arab nations don't do it. The Africans don't do it. We don't know it. We tell them, keep your domestic politics alive aside when you come to us, but not Canada. Perhaps white Canadians feel superior to those savages from the third and fourth and fifth worlds. Is Canada a masochist that seems to enjoy scoring self-goals? This insensitive, disgusting display of the assassination of a former Indian Prime Minister, it's doing no one any good, sir. A few marginalized Sikhs in Canada desperately seek relevance. Very bad taste. Canada, of course, say freedom of expression does not mean freedom to abuse. Has this fellow Trudeau said a word against the culprits? In the past, he, as you've rightly pointed out, he has refused to denounce extremists within Canada's Sikh community who glorified the assassination. And he has pledged to continue attending events that celebrate extremists. I advise you, Trudeau Singh Saab, since you're so fond of this community, Adi Granth padhiye aur dekhiye usme kya likha hai. However saintly garb a man may wear, he cannot conceal his inward impurity. I'm a 50% Sikh. I read the Adi Granth. I know. Tolerance should not become encouragement. You are a funny nation. Large country, small population, huge ambition. You sit at the G7 high table, you talk big stuff, even though you should not be there. No one takes you seriously. I understand that you are hurting. I understand that you want to play a major role, but you don't care. You have probably been the most outspoken in your criticism of the Russian president for what he's doing there. Who cares about you? Get real, man. And what you've done now is unforgivable. Dr. S. Jaishankar has made it clear that it'll hurt you because terror comes back to bite the hand first that feeds it. The next step, sir, as you have mentioned, I would go even further if I were running foreign policy. Kick them in the stomach, kick them where it hurts. Downgrade your trade relations, get tough on visas, and then 250,000 or 100,000 Indian students who go there every year, pay a lot of money to keep Canadian universities afloat. Stop that to the extent possible, within the confines, within the limits of our democratic ethos. Hurt them in business, hurt them in money, you'll see them come to us on their knees begging forgiveness. I've seen this with other countries.
True. Ambassador Deepak Ohra, coming back to you, very well put and I think always candid and straightforward as you are. Puneet Sahani is also with us. He's somebody who had another suggestion. The last time around he had said that make India a no-fly area for anybody holding a Canadian passport. So that means they cannot fly over Indian airspace at all on any commercial aircraft. Phenomenal suggestion there. Ab to lagta hai Puneet Sahani, they must do it. They have to take some hard steps in the sense we as a country.
Jai Ma Bharati, Anand Bhai. So I'll just make a point, the sir also speak very well. I'll just give you a perspective. It's not they put a tableau. What these monsters have done, they have paraded through streets 6 kilometers for 6 hours. No, Sikhs are what, 2%, 2.5% of Canada. No, Canada, all over the world, people are living, and what they must be thinking, what kind of people are these people who are wearing turban? That for 6 hours, from noon to 6 p.m., through the streets, they have paraded a woman with her hands up, and these people are pumping bullets into her, and they are celebrating her. Are we darindas? And this is what I'm saying, and again, I don't know how you feel by criticizing this government. I will show you the poster. I got the poster of these people. So there are 4 people. One of the person is the nephew of Bindranwala. He's in Pakistan, Lakhvir Singh Rode, his son. He is the person who is running this. The other person is some Balkaranjit Singh Gill, something like that. He has been removed from the blacklist. Again, when I said you make a no-fly list, I was saying, from no-fly list to make a blacklist to make a no-fly list, my idea was to increase the deterrent. And this government has removed the deterrent. They are removing blacklist. And, they say we have done some big favor by removing the blacklist. You have, blackened our face in front of the whole world. What kind of, I am a Sikh, I am ashamed. We grew up proud to be Sikhs. Who will want his kids to see that, look at this, they are parading, these animals are parading that, that this woman had been killed. And, I have a lot of disagreement with Mrs. Gandhi. But let's get things very, very clear. Mrs. Gandhi, so many people got killed because she sent with the explicit order, don't fire at the Akal Takht or the Golden Temple. Mrs. Gandhi, when the bullets were still being fired from the Golden Temple, it was very dangerous. And actually a bullet went next to Gyani Zail Singh. It had not been calmed down. Mrs. Gandhi went to Golden Temple and rubbed her forehead. Mrs. Gandhi, she was warned by the intelligence that you remove these people. And she said, I will not remove these people because I don't want to send the message that Sikhs can't be trusted in India. And these monsters who had sworn to protect this woman, they pumped bullet into this, unarmed woman that they had sworn to protect. And what kind of nonsense is this? And, these people are being celebrated. And, it's not just, this became a news now. So the thing is, we don't work with principle. We work with noise when there is an outrage. So now everybody is saying this. But these people, I want to ask this Mr. McKay or whatever he is, of this High Commissioner of... this people, the same thing. Maybe they showed it and it was such vulgar that people got disgusted that they're parading through the streets. But the portraits of these monsters are in almost every Khalistani Gurdwara in Canada. If he really means his condemnation, then he should say we will remove these portraits who have murdered the Indian Prime Minister. If it is not, then it is just playing good cop and bad cop. And these Canadians, I have nothing against the Canadian people, but I'm saying this government, this will not learn till you set a deterrent to them. And we are not setting the deterrent, we are removing the deterrent. And what favor you have done to the Sikhs? Our face has been blackened in front of the entire world when they took out for 6 hours. Yeah. So I am really, really disgusted with what has happened.
See, you have a very strong point of view, Puneet, there, and largely I do accept. But this question about the blacklist was asked, and I did ask with some very senior members within the government and the thought process behind it. And they said that more than 300 odd people were part of this blacklist. The number of people who are actually creating this entire trouble or orchestrating it is about 10 or 20 of them. The remaining have all reformed and they are not acting against India. So for the sake of that, yes, there needs to be something done, and I totally agree with you that this should not be tolerated. somewhere while trying to allow, वो कहते हैं ना कि गुड़ के साथ ये भी पिस गया, the chaff also. So that's what we've had this whole scenario here, where you could not have selectively opened the blacklist. You could have done that. On hindsight, perhaps more measured way of trying to open up and really see who is reformed and who's not could have been done. A lot of checks and balances could have been done, but that's water under the bridge. What can we do now? Ambassador Deepak Vora, now Puneet Sawhney sharing more details. Now this is all the more something that India needs to take cognizance of. It's not that in one particular street that this tableau was there for some time and it was only shown at one particular place. 6 kilometers for 6 hours this was portrayed, and this is also the counter effect. Like I said, crores of Sikhs don't identify with this. And that entire grouping is being branded by a handful of people who are up to some nefarious business because they are motivated and they are being goaded by the enemy. Now, this is also a reality. This is embarrassing for the Sikh community itself. As Puneet has said.
Listen very carefully to what Mr. Sawhney is saying. Son, I congratulate you on your forthrightness. You were excellent. Sir, let me quote to you a little incident that happened to me when I'm in New York, when I arrived. One question asked to me at immigration, and listen to this. Mr. Ambassador, are you a Muslim? I said, no. All right, then go right through. We have no issues. An immigration officer in the US asking me this. A handful of rabid Islamists have ruined the reputation of the religion. A handful of rabid Sikhs are doing the same to their own religion. There are going to be people, Mr. Sawhney, be prepared for this. Going somewhere to Europe or wherever you're going, someone asking, oh, are you the Sikh? Are you the guys who celebrate murder and assassination? What are you going to say? Do these idiots who have done this even realize, the 20 or 30 of them, that they have tarnished an entire community that is known for its valor and sacrifice, sir? Yeah. I wear a kala from the Golden Temple on my right wrist. I was baptized there. Who are these guys? They don't understand either Sikhism. They don't understand international relations. They don't understand the meaning of politeness, of propriety, of staying within the so-called red lines. These guys have absolutely no sense. But the Canadians ought to have been much tougher. They would have given permission for this parade. Did they not know? When people ask us that they wish, whether it be the Tibetans or anybody else, we wish to demonstrate, we say, all right, what are you going to do? Where are you going to go? What are you going to show? We are very, very careful not to damage our bilateral relations with other countries. I know this, sir. I've been in the ministry, I've been in diplomacy for 50 years and counting. We are very cautious not to do this. For example, we are going to have the G20 summit in India. There are many people in G20 countries who may not agree with their governments. If they want permission to demonstrate, we'll say, all right, you'll do it there, but you'll do it in a polite and gentle manner, not this kind of nonsense that we've seen. The Canadians, I'm not saying all Canadians, I think Justin Trudeau has truly lost it. Sir, do you remember that 3 years ago there was a demonstration by Canada First Nation? Yeah. That is the original inhabitants, the autochthonous, whatever, I forget the word, of Canada, and he had them forcibly removed. Then when the farmers were protesting, what did he say? Oh, Canada stands by you. What were they protesting about? They were saying, why are you removing our subsidies? And in the WTO, this same fool goes around saying, oh, but India is giving subsidies to its farmers, therefore their agricultural produce is cheaper than mine. I say you can't have it both ways. You are supporting them because they are protesting the removal of subsidies, and on the other hand, you are saying give them back their subsidies. I just don't. He's either confused, or he's an imbecile, or he's both. I prefer to believe that he's both.
But the other thing is that he believes that he can stay on in power with the support of such elements who now are trying to, who have him on their fingertips and are dancing to their tunes. Now he's a puppet in the hands of those elements who are out there to hurt India. Now India needs to take a position. Yes, Puneet, please, go ahead.
Anas, sorry, I want to really make a very important point to just, what you said. So this is what we believe. I give facts for everything. So we say like Sikhs are against it. I give you an example. There is a Sikh parliamentarian from this very area, from where they have taken the tableau. It's a Punjabi dominated area. It's called Brampton. And the member of parliament from there was Mr. Ramesh Singh Sangha, a Jat Sikh. And he stood up in the parliament that this, like this Khalistan extremism is real. He was quoting the local IB, of which is CSIS of Canada, that this is true, Khalistan extremism is there, and some politicians are supporting it. Trudeau threw him out of Liberal caucus, from the party caucus, and that guy's political career has been destroyed, and he's running a law practice now. So it's not that they give space to this Khalistani element. They destroy the political career of Sikhs who speak against this. And the Sikh who spoke against it was not somewhere from, who doesn't know. He was from this very community and chosen by this very people. So this terrorism is being, we are being defamed by this Trudeau. And I give you another example. His Trudeau's national security advisor on this very same day, when this tableau was running, she said Indian government is interfering in Canada. Now you see this Khalistan referendum that they are running in Canada. So, first of all, they say this is freedom of speech. But do you know where they are gathering all these Khalistanis? It's community centers. So it's government land. It's not in somebody's house that they are doing this. So they are, you can get a community center for normal people. So the
government, knowingly or unknowingly, the government is actually sponsoring, becoming a state sponsor of secessionism. Not terrorism here, but a state sponsor of secessionism or direct assault on the sovereignty and leaders of another nation. This is insult to a former Prime Minister of India. This is a collective assault on India. So this is beyond just political corridors. It's a bipartisan position that we as a nation have to take, that you dare not allow anybody to insult the Prime Minister or former Prime Minister, no matter what issues we have or don't have with our Prime Minister. Our Prime Minister is our Prime Minister. You dare not insult Indira Gandhi. That's the position India has to take, Puneet. Yeah.
Anand ji, you are saying what? I'll just say, move it to bipartisan. It is a national thing, and you should push. You should needle the Aam Aadmi Party, which is in Punjab, which is silent there. Aam Aadmi Party should also condemn this. What has happened in this? They have defamed the Punjabis and the Sikhs there, and now nobody has said. Now some Congress people are coming, and I welcome that. But you should. It's a national thing. It's beyond bi-parties. Aam Aadmi Party has not said it, and you should put pressure on them to give a statement on this.
Now, if Aam Aadmi Party remains silent on this, then that itself will be deafening. That itself will be very, very voluminous, and everybody will hear it out loud and everybody will see it. But I am saying right now, the collective might of India needs to tell Canada 2 or 3 things, Ambassador Saab, and how best to do it. First is that you do not insult a former Prime Minister of India. You do not tolerate that insult. Second, you do not allow those elements who are going to challenge or work against our sovereignty, because that means you disrespect my sovereignty. Third, if you are giving government space and government handle, and if it is legal sanction, then India will deem Canada as a state sponsor of secessionism or secessionist activity against India. 3 points.
You're absolutely right. Do you recall what happened during the Quebec referendum? By the skin of their teeth, they managed to remain united. And all these characters were then screaming the unity of Canada, unity of Canada. What happens when it comes to other countries? Then you forget these double standards. So we are seeing this happen. Sir, do you recall, was it 1985 or 84 when we had the Air India flight from Montreal to London, which was blown up?
Yeah.
It originated in Canada. Around the same time, attempts were made to blow up Air India flights from Tokyo, I think, putting bombs in the cargo and so on. All these were fellows based in Canada. Yeah. Wasn't that a wake-up call? Or are they like Kumbhakaran in perpetual hibernation? It's time to wake up, because this thing that they are encouraging is going to come back to haunt them. With what face will they tell the Quebecois when they have the next referendum, vote for unity, when they themselves are encouraging movements that aim to split the unity of another country? The Chinese taught them a solid lesson when these characters arrested that Huawei fellow's daughter, whatever her name was. And they promptly went and arrested 2 Canadians and said, we're not tit for tat. And Canada climbed down. They blinked first. They released that woman. And then the Chinese released those 2 characters. So it's getting tough with these fellows. Our being nice guys is not helping, sir. Wherever we've gotten tough with other countries, you know the names better than I do. The results have been what we wanted. So if you have to hit them, show them our strength. This is a new India, the 4th largest economy in the world, 3rd most powerful military in the world. We teach you a lesson if you mess around with me. Yeah. Whatever her political compulsions, her political leanings, she was my leader.
Yes.
And you do not insult her. Yes. Just as I don't insult assassinations, I don't celebrate assassinations in other countries. Sir, in my neighboring country, which keeps fighting with us, there have been several political assassinations. I haven't danced with joy on the streets. I don't allow them to be celebrated. Why can't you learn basic human decency, or have you lost it? If you've lost it, I'm sorry, you're not going to get it back easily. So wake up. I do hope that this incident will drive home the point that tolerance beyond a point becomes encouragement. You become an accomplice in what they are.
Yes, and not just that, it's a sign of weakness. For us also to tolerate these kind of insults is a sign of weakness. For Canada to allow this itself shows that you are encouraging it and you are guilty of something. But the larger question is also Prime Minister Narendra Modi really respects Sikhi. The years of emergency he's taken Sharan in a Gurdwara, he's practiced Sikh, he's lived his life as a Sikh, and we know that very well. So for the larger grouping of Sikhs who are getting branded and Sikhi which is getting a bad name because of the actions of these people, I think something stronger needs to be done and a strong message needs to be sent out. So that's point number 4 that gets added to the 3 observations I made, and it's high time we as a nation collectively stand, and we urge this government also to take the right stand. Ambassador Vora and also Puneet Sahni, thank you so much. Always a pleasure. Thank you so much. Namaste and Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir.
Jai
Thank
Mata.
you very much.